Hello, welcome to episode 13 of Stammering Vlog. Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. So, talked about quite a bit last week, just going to do some reflections on that. So it was a great week for awareness with the School for Stammerers documentary and the Undatables. It was really good, lots of media attention can never be a bad thing. So we talked about making the right choice for the therapy that was correct for you. So that's one of this week's questions, which was, how do I know what therapy is right for me? So I'd say, ask yourself, well, what do you want to get out of it? What's the end goal of having some therapy? Now, we know there's no cure for stammering. So it's not going to be to cure it. If you're going on a course that says it does, then I'd be very skeptical and I'd be very wary of it. So what is it you're looking for? Is it looking to more acceptance? Is it looking for some control over your stammer? Not letting it bother you more, the more psychological side of it. So I think once you've answered that, you can then say, okay, this course is going to be good for me, or that course, or whatever. So that's the key thing there, I think, is how do I know? Well, what's important to you to get from the therapy? Where are you now? And where do you want to be? So that's that question. So it was a really good week, and then following on from that, we then had Mark Asari on The Voice. So just to build it even more about stammering in the media. So that was another great addition. Did a great job. Again, it got the internet talking about stammering and I'm sure conversations in households and everything else. So, great job again. Mark, if you're watching this, I thought you did great. Unbelievable courage to go on, national TV and do that, bit like Gareth Gates all those years ago. So I take my hat off to you. I know I certainly wouldn't have done anything like that back when I had no control over my stammer. So nice one, mate. And hopefully now we'll see him more and more, and this is just the start of his career, so we'll see more talk of stammering and that. So what he's done for the stammering community is obviously fantastic. So that was last week. Moving on to this week. So it's been a busy week, a bit of a week reflection really. So you might remember a few weeks ago, did something called fan cams on a YouTube channel called The Villa View. So I talked about my experience going on there. So again, did that after last week's home game. Went okay. And well, I walked away afterwards and I thought, that went well. That did. I was quite happy with how it went in terms of my speech anyway and my control of speech. And then I'm walking away thinking, yeah, that was good. And then when the video went out that night, watching it back, I was like, ooh, that didn't sound great. So I kind of cringed in a couple of places. And I was kind of thinking about it and I thought, well, actually, it doesn't matter, does it? Because I think what's more important, that I went away thinking it was good, and the fact that I didn't think about it then again that night till the video went out live or was put out on the internet. That's quite a mind shift from thinking that was awful, that was terrible, or whatever. So that was really good. And actually when I reflected on it afterwards, I thought, well, actually, I'm gonna take that as a positive, and the fact that I did lose a bit of control actually isn't the main thing. The main thing is that I went and I did it in the first place, and I did what I wanted to do, which for me is what recovery is all about. But then the fact that I walked away thinking it went really well when I'm watching it back in relation to stammering, it probably didn't. So in interesting thoughts. I'd like, if anybody's got any advice or tips how to kind of change that from not watching it back, because that will be the next thing when I can watch it back, and if I have blocked, not to wince or cringe, so to speak. So that's I think that's maybe my next step in my recovery. So we'll see how that goes. And then today I did my usual. I went out for my lunchtime walk to get out of the office, and I was kind of thinking about that, the fan cams, and that, just the week in general, really. And what came to me is, so we've got some stuff going on at work at the minute, a lot of change, which has meant had to go to some conference type things, big seminars, if you like. And when you go to these seminars, you're going to do the whole introduce yourselves, say where you work, what your job title is, the usual thing, as I'm sure you all experience. So I've been to two of them this week, and both times that kind of knowing it was going to come, and that I was going to have to do that. Pre-going on Starfish, that would have not necessarily kept me up the night before, but I'd have been thinking about it loads before I went to sleep and really worrying about it the next day. And it occurred to me today on my walk that I hadn't even thought about it before it actually happened. And I thought but I hadn't realised it till earlier. So when I was thinking about it, I was thinking that's a real good place to be. The fact that you're going to be put into those situations, but it hasn't crossed your mind. And then the fact that when I have done that this week in front of lots and lots of people, it actually went really well. And the one I did yesterday, so Thursday, that buzz from doing it afterwards and saying your name and say, Adam Wright, and I work in da-da-da-da-da, and this is why I'm here, etc. That, that buzz and that sense of achievement, I don't think I'll ever lose that, because it doesn't always go really well. But more often than not nowadays it does. So to those things combined of not preempting it, not thinking about it and worrying about it the night before, or even driving there in the morning, and then it actually going really, really well. I think that's a really good place to be in. So when I look back and I think how far I've come from doing that is quite a big thing. But when you're in it and you're doing it day to day, sometimes you just don't recognise it. So yeah, it's been a good week. Previously, I would have maybe turned up late to those seminars on purpose, because I'd have waited for the introduction bits to get out of the way, and then I might have got out of doing it, or I would not. Sometimes maybe I would have arrived the opposite and gone really early, and I would have done that first to maybe take some of the fear away. And I'm sure people watching this can all relate to that. I'll be really interested to know how you do it, how you get around it, and those sorts of behaviours that is unique to the stammerer. So yeah, please do drop me a comment and let me know. It'll be good for a discussion next week. So I think that's all for this week. I've nearly hit 10 minutes. So as ever, flies by. Again, thank you all for watching. Thank you for those that are subscribing if you're not already doing so. If you could, it really helps the channel grow, as does hitting that like button. So thank you very much. Thank you for your support. Really do appreciate the feedback that I get weekly and through the various social media channels. It's really appreciated, and I'll speak to you soon.